Hello, 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 and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my Ultimate Zulrah guide. My name is Romaine, and I'll be your host for the evening. So, I know Zulrah is a tough boss to kill, and it is very intimidating when you first start, and a lot of people get frustrated and quit. But I urge you to push through the pain, push through the tough times and the struggle, and eventually you'll be able to kill this boss. And hopefully my video will help you achieve this goal, because it is one of the best money-making methods in the game, and it hurts me to see someone picking flax when they could be easily killing this snake boss for much more GP per hour. So get your notebooks out, everyone, and let's get right into it. Alright, we're going to start off with a little bit of information on Zulrah, just because I think it's important to know something about your opponent before you really engage in battle. Anyways, so it is a level 725 snake boss that was released earlier this year on January the 8th, so it's a relatively new boss. It is located southeast of Port Tyrus. Port Tyrus is within the Elven land, so Zolandra, the city where Zulrah resides, is just southeast of that. Is a solo-only boss with an instance room, which means no one else can come in there with you, so you're by yourself, just you versus Zulrah. And players, so you, must use magic and range attacks to kill Zulrah efficiently. It is also a safe boss, which means your items can be retrieved on death. Things that you do lose, however, are God Capes, Ava's Accumulator, Recipe for Disasters, Gloves, and Barrow's Armors will degrade there. So you need to kind of calculate your costs, and if you're dying a lot, go with the more cheaper alternative methods, or gear, which I will be showing different gear setups later on this video. So as far as requirements and recommendations go, Regicide quest is the only requirement. You need to have started the quest, and completed it is totally up to you if you want to complete the quest or not. As far as stats go, I recommend 80 ranged and 80 magic to kill Zulrah semi-efficiently. Obviously, the higher stats you have, the better chance you're going to be able to kill the boss easier. That being said, I do recommend having higher magic over ranged. Range isn't as important. Magic is definitely the most important aspect of killing Zulrah. So having high magic in your best magic gear possible is always a plus. As far as defense and attack or melee stats go, 1 defense can easily kill this boss, and 99 defense can just as easily kill it. Defense isn't a very important aspect as Zulrah. It's all about offense and prayer flicking, or prayer switching rather. Prayer is, you need 40 plus prayer because you need to use protect from ranged and protect from magic for different forms of Zulrah, and you don't really need protect from melee, although I do use it occasionally. You don't need it though, it's not important. And as far as gear goes, the only thing I heavily recommend before you start killing the boss is a Trident of the Seas, or better yet, a Trident of the Swamp. Other than that, you can kind of mix and match your own gear where you know what you can afford and whatnot, but I think the only necessary requirement to kill Zulrah is a Trident. Alright, next thing we're going to look at is the 3 different forms Zulrah has, how to kill them, and how to counteract their attacks and what to do. So the first form is a magic form, which is a blue and purple form. It attacks with magic and ranged attacks. However, you cannot tell when it's going to do one or the other, so you always have to protect from magic, and against the ranged attacks you just need to tank it and eat your raid out of it. The next form is a ranged form, which attacks with ranged, of course, so you just need to protect from ranged, and that's all you really need to do. The third form, which is a red orangey form, is the melee one, and it attacks with melee. What you have to do is you need to stand 2 squares away from how it is targeting you, which I can explain later on within the video. Now, all 3 forms can spew out venom and poison clouds, and also snakelings, which will attack you. Snakelings max hits is 15, and you do not attack these snakelings. You must always have a ring of recoil on, and that is the way you kill those. However, they can combo you, so you still need to be careful of, or be aware of where all the snakelings are and how hard they are hitting you, and also to be able to differentiate whether it is Zulrah itself that is hitting you or it is actually just the snakelings comboing you. Now, Zulrah's max hit is 41, so as long as you are above 41 HP, you should not be able to be killed unless there's like 7 snakelings on you, you don't have a ring of recoil on, and you just keep getting smacked by Zulrah. That being said, I always keep my HP around 40 or higher, or rather around 50 or higher, just to make sure that I do not die. Now the last thing is the ranged form. At the end of, there's 4 different rotations and cycles, and at the end of every cycle there is a hybrid or Jad phase, which alternates between magic and ranged attacks, so you do know when it's going to happen, and you can prayer flick accordingly so that you take no damage whatsoever. And it can be very tough at first, but eventually with practice you can learn to always be on time with the range or the prayer flicking, and you will know every time it is a Jad form. However, it does look very similar to the ranged middle form, which is a green and yellow. So do not worry, until you are at the end of a rotation, the ranged form will only range you. Now, to kill the 3 forms, against the magic form, the blue form, you always want to use ranged attacks. And against the other 2, against the ranged and the melee form, you want to use magic attacks. That is another important thing to write down of note. And the last thing we're going to look at before we get into the actual gameplay is the, of course, drops that Zulrah has. So there is actually 4 unique signature drops that Zulrah has, them being the Tanzanite Fang, Magic Fang, Serpentine Visage, and the Uncut Onyx. They all have the same drop rate of 1 out of 512, and they all go for various different prices. However, the drop rate is 1 out of 512, but you do get 3 drops every time you kill Zulrah. First drop is always scales, and the other 2 is, of course, just random. So that being said, you actually have a 1 out of 256 chance to technically receive a drop, although I'm not very sure on how all the drop mechanics work and everything, so don't take my word for it, but that is just what I've heard. The official drop rates are 1 out of 512. Another interesting drop that Zulrah has is Elite Clue. I've had quite a few of them from Zulrah because they are quite common with the 1 out of 75 drop rate. And then the 2 ultra rare drops, which is the Jar of Swamp. It is a 1 out of 3000 drop rate, and the Pet Snakeling, which most people love, is 1 out of 4000. Okay, so the last thing we're going to look at really quick before we get into the actual gameplay is this very important picture. This is the picture that pretty much figured out everything for me, and hopefully it'll be of great help to you guys as well. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, what the hell am I looking at? I'll explain it really quick what's going on. So there is A, B, C, and D. Those are the different rotations Zulrah can go in when you first start. And as you can see, it always starts though with a green phase in the middle that won't attack you. So you always start off the same way, and then the next one determines, the next phase determines which rotation you are going to be attempting to kill. And as you can also see, at the end of every rotation, there is a Jad phase, or it's called the hybrid phase, where it shoots the mage in range attacks, which I spoke about earlier. Now, I recommend you pull this picture up, although I will have it on the screen the whole time. It will be quite small, so I don't know if it'll be visible, but I recommend you pull this picture up when you kill Zulrah, and even now while you watch this guide. So pause the video and go click on the Gyazo I left in the description. Alright, we're going to take a look at gear setups and inventory setups really quick. So if you do have Void Range and Mage, I automatically just recommend you use that. It's the best thing to use. Although Void Mage isn't as great as, let's say, Arims or, Third Age. Obviously, most people wouldn't have Third Age. But Void just makes for less switches, and it makes it very, very easy, so it's not complicated at all. I use Infinity because I am only 30 defense. And yeah, so Trident of the Swamp, that is something everyone should have, or Trident of the Seas. Trident of the Swamp's a little bit better, but, Trident of the Seas will still fare well. Occult Necklace isn't necessary. You can just use a Fury the whole time, or even Amulet of Glory. But once you have the money for it, I recommend getting an Occult Necklace for faster kills. God Capes, if you do die a lot when you first start out, I recommend you just camp an Avas. You absolutely don't need a God Cape, although it does give plus 10. It is very helpful, but you don't really need one 100%. So that being said, I use a blowpipe just because it is a very good weapon, but I recommend starting out with the crossbow, and I will be showing crossbow kills and I will be showing blowpipe kills because there's a little bit of different methods of where you stand because of the range on the blowpipe is less than the range on the crossbow. So to start out, I really do recommend either a 3 or 4-way switch. You can do a 3-way switch with just that while keeping the Amulet of Fury on, or if you do have an occult, then you can do a 4-way just like that. I don't recommend any higher unless you are very, very good at switching. But even if you are, when you're first starting out with Zulrah, there's a lot going on, so you're going to get confused, and you kind of just want to, you know, keep it simple so you can easily kill the boss. So yeah, Void Mage is recommended. Mystic is also very good to start out with. Infinity, of course, is great. It is quite costly though, and you know, Third Age is very good as well. Arims is very good, but I don't recommend when you start out use Arims or any barrels, because when you die it degrades rather, and you have to go repair it. As far as inventory goes, you need 2 recoils, or if you want to break it every time and bring a fresh one in because you don't want to waste inventory slot, you can do that as well. I just can't be asked, so I do bring 2 recoils, equipping one and having one in my inventory. You need an anti-venom plus is the best one to use, because then you only have to use 1 sip per kill, hopefully. And you can just use regular anti-venom or even anti-poison or antidotes for Iron Men, but it's heavily recommended you just get the best one you can so you don't have to use as many sips. You need Zolander teleports so you can get there, and you need some food. I recommend starting out with sharks and more Karambwans when you first start out, because you would have an extra few inventory slots with less switches. Also, if you do have lowered prayer or you're not very good at prayer flicking, definitely bring a prayer pot because you're going to need that. I personally don't need one because I prayer flick a lot of this. And yeah, also I really do recommend potting before you go in, so you get the extra 2 inventory spots for food, because you know every inventory slot is quite important when you first start out, because you're going to be eating a lot, because you're going to be getting hit a lot, because you don't have any idea what's going on. Pretty much that's about gear and inventory. Very important thing, if you are using just crossbow, a lot of people recommend diamond bolts E are the best thing to use. I heavily recommend against it. I'm only using them because the way I am doing kills right now with the blowpipe is I get one last hit with the crossbow right before it switches phases, and the diamond bolts are a bit more accurate. However, when you first start out, or anytime you're just using just crossbow, you should use ruby bolts E. A lot of people have questioned that logic, but I have tested it out over hundreds of kills, and the ruby bolts E go absolutely hambony on the Zulrah. They hit a lot of 50s, a lot of like high 40s, and I swear the spec goes off like all the time. Although you can just, you know, decide on which one you want to use based on your own discretion. I still recommend ruby bolts E. You can use diamond bolts, you can use broad bolts, you can use rune bolts, kind of figure out your own, you know, your own way of doing it, but I recommend ruby. Alright, so every kill you're going to start off the same way. You just click on your Zolander teleport and you run east. When you first start off, you're going to have to talk to a few NPCs here to be able to get into Zulrah. But yeah, so you just board the sacrificial boat and you're on your way into Zulrah's lair thingy, swamp. So to start off, I always click in the mini-map there in the corner, in the same exact spot. I mage pot, put on Mystic Might, and I start attacking Zulrah. Now, it's very important, at least the way I do it, to stand in this exact square shown, because you can counteract to each rotation as they come very easily. So this rotation I got here was rotation C. I have highlighted it within the red rectangles. You can follow along, and each, or which phase I'm on, will be highlighted by the gray circle. So yeah, just slap on protect from range and it will attack you 5 times, and then you can take your range prey off. And as soon as you see the 2 white blobs fly out, which is the snakelings, you want to run all the way around until you are all the way on the other side on the corner. So you start attacking this melee phase with magic as well. So continue attacking the melee phase with magic, and then you want to click where I either have shown or where the other arrow indicates. Both of them work, and then you attack him twice, and as soon as he turns towards you, you run back in the corner and attack him 2 more times before preparing for the next phase. Next phase is magic, so throw on your ranged gear and your protect from magic and attack this blue magic phase on the right 3 times before running into the middle of where you should be for the next spot. And then switch to your ranged gear and your protect from range, and then stand where I have shown because it is the best spot for the next phase. So you're able to attack this range phase 3 or 4 times depending on how early you attacked, and then switch back to your ranged gear and your magic protect and get ready for the next phase. You don't have to move, you can stand exactly where you are and attack it 3 more times. Of course, eating when necessary if you do see a ranged hit coming at you. So after you've attacked him 3 or 4 times, switch back to your range, or magic gear, sorry, and you don't have to protect from range against this next phase. You can just attack it while it spews out venom and snakelings without protecting from range. Of course, if you're not familiar with that, you can of course protect from range until you notice that it is not that phase. So then you protect from range again, keep on the same gear, and a ranged phase will spawn to the left of this. And I'm saying left or right based on how my minimap is shown. So you attack him a few times and then switch again to your ranged gear and your magic protect and run all the way to the other side so that you can be ready on the right side for Jad when it comes, which will be the next phase after this one. So as soon as he turns away, you can actually take off your protect from magic to save some prayer, and you'll get about 3 or 4 more hits in. Then as soon as you see him spawn the last snakeling, you want to throw on your ranged or magic gear and your protect from magic, and then as you can see, the Jad phase is flicking the magic and range prayers as you see it come. So as soon as you can see the attack within your game screen, you want to switch to the other prayer. As soon as you get your kill, claim your rewards and tally back to Clan Wars so that you can reset your stats. Now if you're wondering, how does he know how many hits he can get off, and you know when he can take your prayer off? Well, you can take your prayer off when you see it spewing out venom, or when you see it spewing out the white blobs, which would be snakelings. And when you how I know when it's going to do his phase switch is it's either clouds of smoke start disappearing or snakelings start dying off on their own. So those are 2 indicators of when to know, kind of gauge when the next phase switch is happening. So like always, when you first enter, click in that exact same spot in the minimap so you can be in the middle, put your magic pot or drink your magic pot, put on Mystic Might, and start attacking Zulrah. Now what's going to happen this clip is it's either going to be A or B, and I do not know that yet until the first 3 phases are over. However, after this range phase goes in, a melee phase comes up, I attack it once, take a step back, attack it twice here, and then I'm able to click down in the corner for 1 more attack before switching to my ranged gear and my mage protect, because as you can see, it is a mage phase in the middle next. So on this phase, I attack it 3 times, and I want to kind of make my way around because I'm going to have to be on the other side for either A or B rotation. So I put on my ranged protect and my magic gear, and as you can see, it is actually the A rotation because the ranged form spawned to the outside north or south rather of the map. He's going to attack you 3 or I think 4 or 5 times, and then as soon as you see him spewing out the white blobs, you can take off your ranged protect, and then he'll spew out some venom, and you get about 3 or 4 more hits. I eat up once, and then a melee phase spawns in the middle, and I stay in my exact same spot and attack that for a few more times. Now as you can see in the minimap, there's 2 snakelings there on the outskirts, and that's why I'm not going to run past this column for this next mage phase on the left here. I'm going to put on my range gear, my mage protect, and I'm going to stay right behind the column so that the snakelings don't attack me while I'm attacking the mage phase. So I get 3 hits here, I take off my magic protect, put on my mystic might and my magic gear, and run all the way around quickly to the other column and stand there. Exactly where I'm showing. You want to stand there because if you don't, these venom clouds will hit you and you will take a lot of damage. So you just want to get quite a few hits off here for free, and as soon as you see him go down, put on your range gear and your magic protect because it'll be a magic phase next where he just went under. So you attack this phase I think 4 times I believe, and you want to slowly make your way over as you're attacking this one, and you need to watch out for those range hits because you saw he almost max hit me there for 39. But yeah, you want to make your way back around for this side because as soon as he spews out that last snakeling, it is going to be the Jad phase, which is different on this side. The Jad phase on this side always starts with the range attack. However, on the other side, like in the previous clip, it'll always start with the mage attack. And I didn't get to go through the whole Jad rotation because I killed it too quickly. However, you would keep going through those rotations until you have either killed it or it'll go back to the beginning. Alright, so like always, you enter the boat and you enter the swamp, and then you go in the same spot in the minimap, mage pot, and put on Mystic Might to get ready to slay Zulrah. So you get about 6 or 7 hits here. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, you get some nice hits off here and start for free, and then you get to see what's happening next. So I see it's a melee phase. I attack it once, take a step back, attack it twice here, and run back down to the middle for one last hit. Then I'll switch to my range gear, mage pot, and mage protect or not mage pot rather, range pot, and I get 3 hits here. So this is either A or B rotation, but I'll tell you right now it's going to be B because I wouldn't show A twice. But yeah, you get 3 hits, put on range protect and magic gear, and run away to this side. But since I saw it spawned on the right side and not at the top, I knew it was the B rotation. So I took my range protect off because it won't attack you during this form. So I get a few free hits off here, and then when I see him spawn that last snakeling, I eat up if I have to, put on my range gear and my mage protect, and then attack the mage form to the south. And I stand right in this exact spot by the column because I'm safe there and I can continue attacking him. So as soon as I see him start spewing out snakelings and venom, I can take off my mage protect and then just camp eagle eye to get, I think, a few more hits off here. As soon as I see him go down, I switch to my mage gear and put on Mystic Might, and I do not move whatsoever, and I can attack this melee form with no hassle at all. So I attack it quite a few times here. And then as soon as I see the clouds disappearing, I know it's going to go to the next phase, so I run exactly to the middle. You can stand exactly where I've shown, put on range protect and mage gear, keep it on, and I get to attack this form 4 times before running back to the original side that I started on, because this is the second to last before Jad. So I put on my range gear, my mage protect, and I attack this mage form to the south once again for quite a few times here. And he'll start spawning snakelings, so I can take my magic protect off. Of course, if you're not comfortable, you don't know what, you can just keep on your magic protect. It's not a big deal. As soon as I see him spawn the last snakeling, I run all the way down to the bottom and prepare for the Jad phase once again. So the Jad phase, you don't have to flick it like I do. You can just keep the prayer on the whole time without taking it off, but I really like to get complex like that. And you would flick 5 times through. It goes twice through each one, so that it'll be either 10 shots or 5 of the rotation. And I will show later on in the video what to do if you do not kill it by this phase. Just like always, enter the swamp, mage pot, and get to your middle spot there on the right side, and get ready to slay some Zulrah. Now I do prayer flick so that I can conserve as much prayer as possible, since I don't bring a prayer pot with me. And now we are on rotation D, so I quickly switch to my range gear as fast as I can, and you won't get attacked right away, so you don't have to worry about putting up your mage prey. But as soon as he turns there and spawns that last snakeling, he's going to turn towards you and then start attacking you, and he can hit you with the range hits, which hit pretty hard, as you can see there. He hits me there a few times, and you get a few hits off there, and then you need to make your way all the way around because his range phase will be next. So he'll range you, I think, 4 times, and then he'll start spawning smoke, which is equivalent of 3 trident hits. And you want to stand I always stand by the columns. That's kind of my go-to spot. So as soon as you see the smokes come out, you want to put your range gear on, and you stay in the same spot, and you just pray. You don't pray anything yet. As soon as he spawns that 3rd snakeling, then you want to put your prayer on and continue to attack him. And as soon as you see the smoke clouds go away again, then that means that's your cue to make your way to the other side. And you put on your mage gear, and you don't have to pray anything since it's the melee phase, and you just camp this column for a few hits here because you are safe. So I really do recommend either the 2 spots you really ever need to be while doing Zulrah is at the end or by the columns, really. Next is a range phase to the left here, so I stay in the same spot, and I get 3 trident hits off before I can actually take my prayer off. Then it'll be the range spawn to the south there. So I stay still in the same spot, don't have to move anywhere for 3 forms in a row here. And keep attacking him, and as soon as the cloud of smoke that's right in front of me disappears, I run all the way to the other side as quickly as possible so that the snakelings on the side that I was just on, that were spawned on that side, cannot reach me. One usually does reach you, but that's alright. As soon as you see him spawn some smoke, that means the phase will be over, and it'll be a mage phase to the right here. So you stay in the same spot because if you see in the minimap, there's 2 dots there, and those are snakelings, and I want to stay away from them. And then as soon as he turns away from me, I can take my prayer off and then just camp Eagle Eye or whatever you have while you wait for the phase to be over. Then you want to switch back to your mage gear. Don't move anywhere. And as soon as I look, you see me look over there, and then I see those snakelings die, then I quickly run over this way. And I want to make my way around I usually camp on this form, rotation, I mean, D. I camp this column because if you stand behind it when they're in the middle, they cannot attack you whatsoever. So if you ever are very low on food, you can just wait until he turns and start spawning smoke before you attack him if you're out. That has helped me many times. So I make my way back to the original like starting spot, and I continue attacking him, and then Jad will be next. And Jad on this side always starts with magic attack, and then it switches between magic and ranged. And like I mentioned before, on the other side, Jad always starts with ranged and switches between magic and ranged. And if you don't kill him on the Jad form, which I didn't hear, he will spawn a blue melee phase, or mage phase rather, sorry, and you will attack him with range, and then he'll go back to the original green range phase in the middle, but he will attack you, so you need to put your range prayer on. Alright, I just wanted to recap once again what happened and make it very, very clear of what just happened in the previous clip. So basically I'm attacking this mage phase in the middle here, which is the second to last phase on the D rotation. And what happens here is true for both C and D rotations. Jad will spawn here on the left if your camera angle is exactly like mine, or it'll be on the right and east if it's the other way around. But basically, if you don't kill him here, what you need to do is stand in the exact same spot and you will attack the mage phase that will spawn in the middle, but it won't attack you. So you put your range gear on and attack it. Now, if you don't kill it like I did, what will happen is it will spawn 3 snakelings, and then you still stand in the same spot, you put your mage gear back on, and you pray range, because it'll go back to the original green form in the middle, but it'll attack you first before spewing out the venom. That is true for both C and D rotations. Alright, so now that I explained C and D Jad, what happens after Jad, I'll explain A and B. So here I am getting ready for the A or B Jad phase, which is the exact same for both rotations. It's on the right side here, or the west if you're looking at your compass. I stop attacking him pretty much for the rest of this video because I didn't want to kill him before I got through all the rotations so I could show you guys. So you go through the 5 rotations, and then he'll start spewing out venom. And as soon as you see him spew that last cloud out, you know that it'll be ready for the melee phase that'll be in the middle. So you stand where you are, you attack him once. I don't because he was low HP. Go that spot, same as always, attack him again, go back to your spot, and attack him one more time or twice. Then it'll go back to the original ranged phase in the beginning, but he will attack you just like he would attack you on the C or D phase. I'm not attacking back because I didn't want to kill him, but you should be attacking while trying to make your way back to this side, back to the original position. And then, just like always, he would start to spew venom like you just entered the swamp, and you would try to kill him. And you could take your range prayer off, I mean. And then there's me just killing him, which would have been A or B phase because it was a melee first. Hopefully that explains what happens after Jad and how it switches to a new rotation. And now I'll show you some Zulrah safe spot areas in case you're low on food or you just need to practice. First spot is, if he is on the other side, you can easily safe spot right behind the column and you will be safe in any of the squares shown within the red rectangle. I click and show that I will not be hit, so either side you can be behind this column. This next safe spot works on any phase as long as they are in the inside middle of the map. So you can either stand behind this column and he won't attack you, or you can stand behind the other column. Either or work depending on where the smokes clouds are. And you can see here he's aggroed towards me, and as soon as he turns away, I could start attacking him without him attacking me back, and this works very well when you are low on food. For the melee phase, when you are on the western side of the map, there's 3 safe spots highlighted by the red rectangles right now, and you might want to pause the video to see them more clearly. When the melee phase is in the middle, there's 2 good safe spots that you never have to move from. The spot I'm on right now and the spot directly south. This is true for both columns, either side. When the melee phase is in the middle, but you're on this side and you're trapped by smoke, there's 2 safe spots that'll be shown by red squares, so you can pause the video and look at that. And the final safe spot is if Zulrah is in any phase on the outside south, you can walk along this line. You cannot go anywhere else except for within this line, and this is true on either side for any phase. Shown once again with the magic phase on the other side. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap up my video here today. I hope the guide was very informative, very concise, and very clear. If it wasn't, please let me know where I went wrong and how I can improve my video for next time. That is very helpful for me as a video maker and as a live streamer. If you do want to watch Zulrah live, you can always check out my Twitch. It'll be in the description, as well as the picture that I pretty much based my guide on for this whole video. If you want to check that picture out and have it beside you while you're killing Zulrah, please do, by all means. And hopefully you'll be able to kill Zulrah today. If you did enjoy the video, and if I opened your eyes on how to kill Zulrah, please leave the video a like, and some nice comments are always nice to read. So until next time, guys, adios.